One love, Delta9 travelers. Guess what? We are live. Welcome in to the live presentation. Now, because we are a few minutes behind schedule, I'm going to jump straight into the presentation. Welcome in. If this is your first time traveling with me, hit the thumbs up button, buddy. It don't cost you nothing at all to hit that thumbs up button. Very important content, very important information that persons all over the globe need to be updated with about what's going on with the MV Barima. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a number of protests and there's going to be a number of demonstrations that's going to go down throughout the day because of some of what, listen, that is going on the ground. But if this is your first time traveling with us, make sure that you subscribe. There's a number of things that we definitely have on the channel that I'm sure would update you with a number of important details about what's going on with the MV Barima and a number of other headlines. Welcome in to this live presentation. Let's get straight into it.
Not a lawyer, I'm a B-man, right? And it looked bad that a B-man be questioning the DPP. The DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution, doing some very questionable things. Now, she defended the charges laid against those men by quoting Article 187 of the Constitution, which basically is like telling us, well, she's a law unto herself. Nobody could influence her decision. We seen you make a few sus decisions in the past, but I mean, what's important here is how y'all reach till to murder. With murder, you got something called mens rea and you got actus reus, right? You guys correct me if I'm wrong. The mens rea, you need intent. You need intent. You need the part of the mind where you have some malice. So I can't just come and accidentally knock you on the road like I passed did Francis have any planning or coordination to go and murder this person? He had a plan and then he executed it. Is there any intent? Did I ever threaten that person before? Then it's murder, right? They got some theory, some fragile skull theory, like if you tap somebody in the head like duh, right? Like duh. Not that you should be tapping nobody in the head, but even if you just in a joke, you poke somebody in the head, but their head was so fragile it was paper thin, you know, and it your finger went through us and they damaged their head. Yeah, you'll be liable for that, but is it murder? It's not murder. You didn't know. So and the other part of it, how could it be murder if the people themselves you're charging for murder were victims of the tragedy? It's like you burning a building, or you go to burn a building with 200 people inside. But instead of standing outside the building and throwing the carol, you go in the building with the people and you light the carol and you barely survive. And they charge you for murder. That makes sense to you guys? They have to establish a lot of things. And have you, who was the expert witness testimony you're relying on? How did weed in the bloodstream of anyone there turn into murder? What was the concentration of narcotics found? Narcotics can stay in the system for days or weeks. What was the concentration found? Was there an expert opinion given by a doctor or medical person outside of Guyana that confirmed it was in a concentration that was likely to impair the judgment of the persons operating the vessel? There's a lot of questions. How did marijuana turn into murder? What we witnessed yesterday was a modern lynching. There's a modern lynching. Now, I do often come tell you the PPP is a racist, kleptocratic dictatorship. but it functions differently sometimes. You see a certain level of society, your color doesn't matter so much. I told you yesterday in the live, before I even knew those guys had been charged for murder, I said this administration prefers to charge black people for crimes, right? It prefers it, especially where it concerns incompetence, because the whole model of the party, you need to understand this, over the last how many decades has been built around marketing themselves as the alternative to black incompetence. They paired blackness with incompetence. That's why they stay on Barnum's name for so long. That's why, regardless of whether the gas to shore gone overpriced by $2 billion or the roads cracking up, everyone from the PPP is always in my comments to tell me about Durban Park. Even when I post videos about Durban Park, some of them don't even know what they're looking at. They tell me, why don't you go to Durban Park? Because the idea of black incompetence has been nurtured in their minds. PPP pages like Live in Guyana, these folks that show Granger as a planting ship vagrant, and they basically celebrate it. So they would do anything possible that if something pops up in their administration, this is what they're struggling with now. This is the greatest tragedy in Guyana's maritime history, and it has incompetence stamped all over it. So they're trying with the same playbook. Obviously, this is multicolored incompetence, but the PPP are so stuck on trying to pair and pin incompetence on being black. All of the people they've put forward to represent this issue happen to be Afro-Guyanese. And every single person that has now been tried, that has now been lynched for this issue, happens to be Afro-Guyanese. But the scope of responsibility extends far beyond these people. I must call a spade, right? And what the PPP has done in this regard is decidedly racist in their treatment of this situation. And I would encourage any one of you to come and try and refute those claims with some evidence of your own. That's quite unfortunate. Now, let me show you who is really responsible for this, for the sinking of the MV Barima, because it just will not do. Good morning. What you're going to see, right? Let's live good with your neighbors, right? Now, what you're going to see is these gentlemen that were charged for murder should be released, right? They should be released immediately. These charges have no basis, and let me start getting in to who is actually responsible, because this is what I'm waiting for a few of you to join the live. Please share the live if you've joined. I'm waiting for a few of you to join the line before I start dropping the facts on you guys. That's gonna leave you all in shock. Okay, so let me get down to it. First problem, I told you they don't want to bring the boat up. The PPP will, and I start telling you since Sunday when it occurred to me, is before they said they ain't gonna bring it up, right? I realized, I said, hey, with these French diver, remember the video of the French diver? Oh, the boat cannot come up from the sea bottom, and it is too dark, and you cannot see anything, and we only see one body, and we cannot bring it up. It's in the mud. As if they never visited Titanic, as if they didn't bring up the Kirk submarine from thousands of feet of water, as if people not there drilling in thousands of feet of water and through bedrock to get oil to suck it up into a boat, to process it, to send. They can't bring up a little ship in 50 foot of water, because me and you gotta be black belly ship, right? So they come with a whole kerfufflement for we, and then they chop up the video. Next thing, you hear Prime Minister come with his sabi face, but well, it might have to lie there, and they start talking about memorial. Hey, get from here. We need to start telling them that. Thanks, Mark Phillips. You give me a good phrase. Anytime y'all come with any nonsense from now, get from here. So Guyana, you let those people know, get from here with their nonsense. You know that the MV Barima, and one Edger, please come to the front of the class. Your name gonna call a lot in this live. A lot. If anybody got a lot of things to respond to, is you, one Edger, right? Come to the front of the class, please, sir. One Edger. Could you confirm or deny to the people of Guyana that the MV Barima has a big hole in the bow? A known hole. And this hole being in the ship since around like 2022.
Unthinkable.
A big
Y'all hearing
hole,
this, Delta9 travelers?
where a steel plate in the boat, in the bow, is supposed to be replaced.
Wow.
Angel, I learned something for the first time yesterday. You see, I'm not a man in construction. I like bees and honey and exposing corruption, right? But I learned yesterday, Mr. Edgel, that when you mix concrete and sugar, is make very strong concrete. Now, why did I learn that, Minister? I learned that because I learned at the same time as I learned that instead of replacing a steel sheet on a single hull vessel, you guys patch the hole with concrete and sugar. Concrete and sugar to patch a hole in the bow of a ship, a single hull vessel. Now, I learned something today that any passenger ferry or ship like that is supposed to, it's not supposed to be single hull, double hull. It's supposed to have, so if water starts coming in, you have, the hull is like between you and the ocean. How much space you got? Like, is this one barrier, two barriers? So it would allow a double hull, might allow a ship to take in a certain amount of water, but there's more air pockets in it. They have reserve buoyancy in the vessel, right? So there is a regulation called SOLAS 74, right? Where if you operate in this kind of vessel, obviously in the water, they have objects. Sometimes you might knock into something, but if you had if the hull got penetrated, it would give you more time, right? So the estimate I saw was that between 5 and 10 minutes time, they would have had, if any disaster occurred, to evacuate the boat under the best of circumstances. But I'm going to explain to you in the course of this video why these people was operating in the worst of circumstances. So it didn't have, they were operating that boat outside the regulatory environment, right? It is a single hull vessel. It had a known breach in the hull for at least 4 years. They did not patch it by replacing the steel plate. They instead took sugar and cement, which is make a harder cement mix, and they patched the hole in the steel boat with sugar and cement. And over time, this hole, the water was still coming in, and there was a few known holes, as told, in the lower part of the hull that were taking water during these journeys. That boat was always taking in water as it was traveling, okay? And the hole kept expanding, and they had to keep patching it with more concrete and sugar. On the Wednesday before the boat, last Wednesday, I am told they had to do a little more patching with concrete and sugar on a steel-ass boat. The problems start there. The boat, we heard a lot about the rusty engine room. I think Mohammed's supposed to be the engine room. Some of the pipes were they supposed to replace, so they didn't cover with concrete. Some of the holes where they were supposed to fix, they cover with concrete. And the boat was always taking in water. What was keeping the boat going, keeping it afloat, is they had pumps that had to be working all the way through the journey to keep the bottom of the boat from flooding, because water was constantly coming into the boat as it was moving along, right? At this point, I will call for a review of the entire Transport and Harbours fleet, okay? The entire fleet, because I see there that in there, though he is head of public utilities and aviation, and on the Facebook page, it makes it clear that they have responsibility for safer and modern sea transport. I'm made to understand all of these requirements and the certification requirements and like only have been applied to the private sector, and the public transportation has been exempted from these regulations and requirements by the same ministry in charge of enforcing the regulations and requirements. So a page of like 7 criteria a vessel's supposed to have to be certified as seaworthy has been lowered to about 1 page, and is discretional based on these engineers, that the surveyors that sign off. And we don't even have any fully qualified surveyors in Guyana. None of this has to do with the ship, the first mate, and the loading person. This starts at the level of the integrity of the vessel that those souls were sent into the rough ocean with, and whether it was seaworthy and capable of making the journey. This has nothing to do with the captain, the first mate, and the loader. That none of those men patched the hole in the vessel with concrete and sugar. Now this pump would sometimes break down. Okay? And made to understand, one of the times that this pump break down was on the 18th of July. And the water that the hole expanded around where this concrete and sugar plug was in the vessel, and it started taking on more water than it could pump out, right? So it's not that the pump broke down completely, but the amount of water that started coming into the vessel was more than the pump could pump out. Now, even down to the type of pumps, these vessels need bilge pumps and stuff. So the pumps in these vessels don't work too good. They got to buy external pumps. So in any ship, you're only supposed to use diesel pumps. A diesel vessel, you're only supposed to use diesel pumps. Hold on, let me put my thing on Do Not Disturb to make sure nobody don't call me. Good. You're supposed to put this thing on diesel. You remember they had a fire on the MV Barima around 2022? That fire was because they bought a gasoline pump and put it in the vessel. And that is what caused a fire in the engine room. So when you see them telling you that the last time the vessel was repaired in 2024, they went into the dry docks. And yes, I did read the article where it said $90 million was spent on the repair of the vessel. That was basically to fix some of the problems that fire in the engine room caused, and put a little lick of paint on the boat, but they didn't fix any structural issues. And the same concrete and sugar patched hole in the steel plate in the hull that they didn't fix. It was not fixed in 2024. It was taken out of the dry docks early because the government had a number of projects they wanted to finish in Port Kaituma, and they wanted to use the boat like a workhorse to transport materials and stuff, so they could do electioneering, so they could get their votes up in Region 1 by building broke up crappy roads for the people down there, right? So that's one thing. So it was not seaworthy, and that's why the government don't want to bring up that boat, right? They will do everything in their power, including making up. You think you're so tone deaf, insensitive, and corrupt? You think anybody wants a memorial site? Not even a week after, people still asking you to go find their loved ones, people in the grip of woe, and they circulating thing to have MV Barima recognized as a final resting place. Y'all don't trust no notice coming from the government with no signatures from any survivors, right? How stupid are we? Up to now, the government cannot provide a reconciled list to tell us who are these 73 survivors from the accident in the first place. Who are the survivors? I do not believe there's 70-something survivors from that accident. I really do not. If y'all could find me 20 or 30 survivors from that accident, I will be impressed. Most of the people on that vessel drowned, in my humble opinion. Most of them drowned. There were so many children on that boat. Most of them drowned. All the life jackets were overhead. I told you they were locked away. But the guy, one of the guys, we had a number of people. As I say, I mightn't fit everything here. Follow VPAC page as well. Darwin and coming with another live. Between us, we let you know everything we find out yesterday. How much people from Transport and Harbours call us yesterday? How many people see the wrong way y'all do their colleague? and start calling in and giving us the scoop. Oh, somebody passing that is repair black tank. You know, even you could repair black tank for a bus. But yeah, guys, if you have black tank bus, I got a man passing from my road here, there's repair black tank. Alright. Yeah, let me keep this thing going. Right? So would Edgel care to confirm a few things for us, please? So apart from, let me move away from this hole and the fact they didn't want the vessel come up, because apart from the hole, they can find other holes on the vessel. The engine, if it had even one, if it had two engines, it would have definitely make it through the iron pond section. Again, the captain not responsible for the engine, right? It would have made it through the iron pond section, that rough bit of water, where the government initially said a big wave knock over the boat, which sounds like an act of God, because I didn't know y'all had Aquaman or y'all had Avatar the waterbender piloting the ferry. If we just hire airbenders and waterbenders, y'all let us know. I didn't know the Avatar was on the ferry. Yeah, well, first we hear is a big wave knock over the boat. So how the big wave wasn't in court if you decide to charge these people with murder? And if you charge them with murder, they mean the government has now accepted responsibility for this accident, and everyone down the chain is also guilty of murder. So this should be the first three people. And as Darwin would have said yesterday, this now means the citizens can sue them because they've admitted responsibility. After first saying they didn't admit responsibility, why you charge the goods loading man if Edgel came on the first, second, third day to tell us the boat was not overloaded? What are you charging him for? If you say there's nothing wrong with the boat and it's seaworthy, we charging the captain for? Under which law does narcotics in the bloodstream at an unknown concentration? Because I don't even believe that, right? You remember, these are the same people that told you they saw a man named Orlando kidnap Adriana Young, and when it was found fake CCTV, they couldn't find it. They blame an unknown civilian that was working in the police that was fired, apparently, that we never got to find out who they were. This government is regular. Give us fake information, fabricate things, and just tell us and hope it sticks. Because the victim is a poor man. And how things working in Guyana right now is not just about white and black, however. No, the elites are lynching the working class. That's what you saw yesterday. You saw 3 working class men get lynched by the elites of this country. The corrupt kleptocrats just lynched 3 men. It's just left for them to hang them in a public square and for us to have snow cone and icicle to celebrate, because it's no different to what used to happen in lynchings before. You pick some poor people, you pin a crime on them, they would have a facade of having a trial. It's not like they used to just go collect these men off the streets and lynch them, right? That assuage their conscience. So they'd give some, make it look like there was some fair trial that was going on. They would always be found guilty. Then they would be taken to a public square, and there would be some celebrations where the public come out and revel in the spectacle, and little children would come. It would be like a social day. They would take pictures. There was postcards of the lynchings. And Guyana is lynching its poor and working class. And I say it's not black and white, because yesterday 3 black men got lynched, and a couple weeks
there's so much that people who know about this boat, the ordinary people, there's so much that they have in terms of their knowledge of what happened. And I believe if we don't hear their story, we will not know the truth. We have to speak with the ordinary people. We have to speak with the survivors. They will tell you and paint the right and true picture of what really happens with these ferry services that ply our rivers. Transport and Harbours Department will want to tell us that they had the best system in place. They will want to tell us they had everything that was perfect. But we're hearing that this is not the first time something like this is happening with this boat. It's continuous. And I was relating to some folks that I do believe it is the same with the other vessels that we have. Sabanto, Kanawak, Kanawaruk, Malali, all of them. It is clear that we had a broken system. The system was so broken that we wait until tragedy to fix it. And that is why I am blaming Edgel. That is why I'm saying that he has to go home. Because he is the minister, the subject minister. And don't tell me about you got well, your superintendent and I don't know who else to do what. The system was broken. The system is terrible, and he sat there. And he sat there and oversaw a broken system. Listen, he wants to take praises when a road is built. He wants to take praises when a set of other things.
Poor Indian man for the Henry Boys murder. Again, me and believe that bullshit. Y'all gotta come and show me some evidence. I don't believe. In me heart of hearts, I don't feel like the right men went down for the Henry Boys. So it's not just black people getting lynched out here. It's the working class that are getting. I want to make that distinction to you between the working class and the elite. The working class are being lynched by the elites. So, apart from this whole ministerial, I'm told that sometime in late 2025, maybe before election leading, or sometime around then, your ministry would have chartered this boat, MV Barima, and y'all put it through a lot of stress. Y'all work it out like a horse for like nearly a week. During this week, and you guys could go back and check for me, but there was a discovery of some weed and cocaine on a boat in Port Kaituma. Would the minister care to confirm that it was the same MV Barima on which the cocaine and weed was discovered? Would the minister care to confirm that this drugs was discovered on the boat while it was contracted exclusively to the government for the movement of cargo? Murder. This story deep. Would the minister care to confirm whose drugs those were? Or did he know it was in the papers as maybe somebody sneaked it on the boat? But in that period, the boat was traveling with some thick steel rod, cement, BRC, all the things we need to build road. They was loading up the boat and using it like a workhorse for that purpose, right? And in that time, last year, when they had and they have an article, I got the picture, everything. They had a drug bust on that boat while the ministry was using it. And who used to go and collect the cargo? Because I also asked who the consignee was. People with branded ministry shirt logo was who used to go there to collect the cargo, right? Okay, so it could still be somebody sneak it on the boat or whatever, but this boat had a lot of problems going back a long time, right? I have a lot of pages and notes, guys, so please bear with me here a little bit. Okay, so the state of the fleet. So in case y'all think this is something limited to the MV Barima, right? This is why I said there are a lot of MV Barimas on the water, and we literally, okay, that boat went down, but we are months away from another one of these boats sinking. There's not the only boat at risk of sinking right now. All of the fleet is in serious disrepair and need of upgrades right now. The whole fleet. Now, according to the laws and the international laws, a seagoing vessel is not supposed to be traveling anything less than 15 knots. You understand? I made to understand that some of the vessels they got down there was traveling like North Coast before they retire it, was traveling at 2 to 3 knots, right? Sometimes, 1.5 to 2 knots, which is barely faster than the current. So the boat was basically moving with the current. Even the brand new MV Militia that they brought, that boat now moving at around 9 knots, right? It had started off at around 15, but because of poor maintenance, the boat now moving at around 9 knots. Some of them boats in moving 7 knots. They all moving below speed, especially to traverse an ocean-going environment. Who is certifying these vessels? Why are they being put on the water? And why are so many people's lives at risk? The engine rooms of many of these other vessels are compromised. I'm told that none of transport boats currently, excluding the newest in the fleet, and even those I'm told have substantial problems, but the vast majority of vessels in transport fleet, the wheelhouse, which is where you control the boat from, the wheelhouse, you could just turn the wheel to go port and starboard. You could just turn left and right. To speed up, slow down, or anything like that, they have something called, they have to call the engine room. They don't even have controls that are working in the wheelhouse to speed up, slow down, and certain turning maneuvers they can't do. They have to call the engine room and get the guy in the engine room. Telegraphing is what they call it. Y'all hearing me? The controls in work. They don't have no navigation equipment. The Transport and Harbours staff is navigating by compass alone. They have compass. That's what they're using to navigate. When they come out of the channel in Demerara, for instance, what's the number the guy called? When they come out and he said we come out, we square off, and then we hold 330. They hold a heading of 330 degrees, and that is take them to northwest. And from a certain point, they could navigate by the channel. I ain't making up no numbers. I talked to the people then, right? You don't have no, they used to have a working pulsometer on the boat when PPP got back into office in 2020. It stopped working. There's something that's measuring the depth of the river as you're going along. It stopped working. Nobody ever fixed it. I am told that, yes, okay, so I understand as well why the government been trying to blame the Grange administration for the boat, because that's the last time it was put in dry dock properly in 2017. Apparently, it's the last time any proper work was done on the boat. Look how long ago that is. Look how long ago that is. And many people, this is not no political dress down here, but it's about people's lives. I got to talk the truth here. Many of the staff complain about a change in the work culture since 2020. Over and over and over again, the allegation has been made that senior officials in the ministry are the people that are forcing the staff at Transport and Harbours to overload that boat with people and with cargo. At this minute, I would like to call a man named Brent Noll Ashley, the chairman of Mabaruma. You come to the front of the class, sir. Sir, have you called the minister on a number of occasions, one Edgel, and had one Edgel communicate to the Transport and Harbours that you need to accommodate up to 60 extra persons per trip on some occasions? Up to 60 extra persons after the people tell you the boat close off, they cannot take any more persons. And one Edgel, would you like to confirm or deny your participation in these activities? Every single trip these people go on, this region man, chairman, or someone from the ministry is calling them agile, personally calling to give instructions, right? To overload the vessel after the people tell you that it's done. One captain got fired. One captain got fired, I made to understand. Because after already overloading the boat on instruction, he left a woman behind that had another 10 people with her. And she was a member, allegedly, of one Edgell's congregation. And he refused to let her on the boat to overload it further. And he was fired. He lost his job. As a captain in Transport and Harbours, one Edgell, can you confirm that when the captains refuse, as they often do, to overload the vessel to take extra cargo, they are suspended? When they point out to the concrete and sugar hole and they leaking and people don't want to go, there's people that been suspended 6-7 times over that boat. Engineers, the MV Barima in particular is a boat that has changed staff regular, because it's terrified the people that work on it. Engineers just come and go. They're frightened to go on that boat. People start calling in sick because they don't want to go on that boat. One Edgell, would you confirm that the man you currently have in jail for 70-something murder charges had that boat grounded for 3 weeks prior to his departure on the 18th? And that he was called out of his house to go and work the boat, that he was forced to work the boat? Could you confirm or deny that? That the captain currently sitting in jail for murder did not want to work that vessel? That it parked for 3 weeks, he did not want to work it, and y'all forced the man, and then on the day in question that the vessel was leaving, y'all overloaded the thing. The man refused to. He said he looking at the condition of the vessel, nothing was fixed or patched, because y'all tell you something patched on the boat. Nothing was patched. The captain did not want to go with it. He did not want to take the extra cargo. And he was summoned to the Maritime Superintendent office. Where there? I got it right down somewhere. He was summoned, right? Like how they summon the captains when they don't want to play along. And he came back, he got on the boat. Because it's regularly.
You're all hearing this, Delta9 travelers? No, it had to be something more, you know. It had to be something more. Welcome into the chat. Thanks for being a part of this live presentation.
Suspend you. If you refuse as a captain to work in unsafe conditions, to take the boat out, to put your life or your passenger's life at risk, you get 7-day suspension, no pay. Right away. 7-day suspension, no pay. So they actually penalize all the people that try to bring these safety issues to light. One Edgell, don't come and lie to us. Sir, don't come and lie. Sir, I want you to know in advance that some of these engineers is take pictures of the logbook. And VPAC has pictures of the logbook. VPAC has pictures of the logbooks for these vessels. Don't come and lie to us. We already see. When the engineers go and they do the work, and there's not all the defects, they still be forced to travel. Now imagine you on the bread line. These people got your job in their hand. They just victimize you. Even though you calling out these safety issues, they force you to go and work. That day in question, they had problems with the engine going back a few days. They were still trying to fix the engine. They need, I tell you, in good condition. The Barima was the oldest boat, but it was still one of the fastest boat on the fleet. An 87-year-old boat was still one of the fastest on the fleet, but it should not have been going in a sea. It should not have been going to sea, ocean going. It did not have the speed. It did not have the hull rating. It did not have the certification. It did not have the navigation equipment. It was a foregone conclusion that that vessel would sink one day and people would die. It was a practically assured sacrifice that was going to happen. And they sent them out anyway. The engine was not working properly. One was not good. Got grounded on a sandbank. Remember with the concrete and sugar patch that they put in the steel plate, right? All of those things start to amplify. It start getting worse because they pull this thing to get it off the sandbank, and the boat was already taking in water from the time it left Georgetown. But they had a pump, I think it's a 3-inch pump or something they had in there, was pumping out the water as the boat was going, just to keep it afloat. And then the water started coming more than the pump could manage. And so overloaded with people and cargo. How did one Edgel get to 390 people that boat could take? Passenger ferries are normally rated, the small ones are normally rated for how many passengers they can carry based on the number of toilets on the vessel. That vessel, I made to understand, had 2 male and 2 female toilets, and the calculation I would have seen, I stand to be corrected, was as about 25 people per toilet, right? Which should tell you at minimum it could take 100 people on that boat. It don't have chairs, it got seats, and I'm told the seating capacity is for around 60 to 100 people. So you can't take more people than you have seats for, because that's how you know what the passenger capacity is. So that vessel was very, very, very overloaded, and most people tell me that they believe it had way more than 200 people on board. Remember, it's summer holidays, and people would bring is like going to Georgetown is like a vacation for people in Region 1. So all the grandmothers gathering up all the grandchildren, pulling them together, and then bringing them to Georgetown to do the little school shopping, see the sights, have a little fun and stuff, and then taking them back home. So the boat is be rammed, and it's got so many little children on it. I get a little more ins into the hustle. So some of the staff, like if you were the one way the load man might have been wrong, depends on they need the evidence for it, but some of these people could make an extra $60,000 a trip just by allowing extra load onto the vessel. And then even after they close off the cargo, businessmen themselves just come and be trying to bribe them to put stuff on the boat. The government just be calling them to force them to put extra cargo and people on the boat. Nobody cares about the safety and the lives of these guys. And if something happens, then they go and blame it on the captain and the staff. But those are the very people that have been forced to do these things. Do you see the scale of the injustice here? So we have not heard Brentnall Ashley's name once, and I would expect we would hear. I mean, someone sent me a message the other day to say the chairman of Region 1 was created a WhatsApp group to ask for money in the wake of the charity. I don't know what he was fundraising for, but it sounded like he was one of the same people that was helping to overload this boat with dozens and dozens of extra passengers every single trip. People associated with him, because remember, it's the cheapest way to travel there. It's the only boat that was plying the region. Everybody want to go and come. There's never enough space on the boat. So I also saw correspondence. The same man, the loading man, what they got in jail now for 72 murder. We have a WhatsApp text, Mr. Edgel, showing that this man is communicating that you communicated with him, that extra people to overload the boat must be accommodated. And these people must be told that they cognizant of the fact they don't have enough seats or whatever, they would be allowed to string up their hammocks and stuff like that, but that they should not take pictures and post them on social media to create any impression that they're being treated inhumanely. Did you or did you not give such instructions to the same man sitting down for murder, Minister Edgel? If so, it sounds like you should be sitting in there, not them. Did you give those instructions, Minister Edgel? And did you not give those instructions on a number of occasions? Was the board of directors, this lady Rosalinda Rasul, was she not also in the habit of calling captains and forcing them to take extra cargo? Please respond to these allegations forthwith, because men are going to be rotting in jail for the next however years. You know, is it to have 72 murders?
Is the unlawful killing of a human being without malice or premeditation. It is generally split into two main types: voluntary manslaughter and involuntary manslaughter. Then you also have vehicular manslaughter, right? Well, Guyana, we ain't got vehicle manslaughter, even though nonetheless they adjusted the law. Then they charged one man some time ago, the man who struck and killed the policewoman in front of BV police station. And we are advised that when the matter got to court, they withdrew the manslaughter charge and they put in the regular causing death by dangerous driving. And we're not hearing anything about that any longer. So you have vehicle manslaughter. So you have, as they say, you have voluntary, which is the intention to kill. Let me go back. Manslaughter is the unlawful killing of a human being without malice or premeditation. And they say you have voluntary manslaughter and you have involuntary manslaughter. The core elements: no malice, lacks the evil intent or pre-planning required for a murder charge. General intent involves lower culpability, such as intense emotional impulse or extreme carelessness. Listen to this carefully. When you talk, they said general intent involves lower culpability, such as intense emotional impulse or extreme carelessness. Manslaughter, extreme carelessness. Then they go on, the two types: voluntary, intentionally killing committed in the heat of passion. Hear what the explanation says here. Intentional killing committed in the heat of passion. As I said, the two men fighting and the man just float, heat of passion. Shoot, dead. Stab, dead. You fight, you lick it down, you broke your neck, dead. Manslaughter. After a sudden, strong provocation that would cause a reasonable person to lose control. A strong provocation to cause a reasonable person to lose control. You stand up there, you think, man run up to you, dig two bucks in you. Bab, bab, strong provocation. And there and then, you had a knife for you. You're going to get a knife. Or, don't let me bring a knife. You responded by giving you one blow. Boom up. You fall down, you knock your head and you're dead. Strong provocation. The heat of passion. After sudden strong provocation that would cause a reasonable person to lose control. A reasonable person to lose control. Then you have involuntary. Unintentional killing caused by recklessness, criminal negligence, or during the commission of a lesser unlawful act. Now, if we are to look at this definition again, where they talk about involuntary, unintentional killing caused by recklessness, criminal negligence. Now, how Agile and Indara get charged if we are to apply that definition? Ask the DPP, if we are to apply that definition, how come? Now we're saying involuntary manslaughter relates to the unintentional killing caused by recklessness, criminal negligence. And from all the evidence we have seen so far, the minister and those below him were criminally negligent. So how come they don't catch a manslaughter charge? Tell me that. And these are questions that should be directed to the DPP. Well, we know they're going to tell you, well, we got to wait on the Commission of Inquiry. They couldn't wait on the Commission of Inquiry to determine the guilt or innocence of these three men, but they're going to tell you anything else. If you ask them about Ejil, if you ask them about Indar, if you ask them about anybody else, they're going to tell you that you have to wait the Commission of Inquiry, which I'll address as we go along. Right? Then, of course, I tell you have vehicular manslaughter, which resulting from driving a vehicle in a grossly negligent or unlawful manner, such as driving under the influence of alcohol. So, again, when we look at the definition of murder, how are these men charged with murder? Is the DPP saying that she has evidence to show that these men set out, and as they say, they had this premeditation, malice aforethought to kill these 72 people? That is what the DPP is suggesting. Or, as the thing say, the other part talk about the recklessness, extreme recklessness. Extreme recklessness is terrible. Who's going to prove that? If you want to say it was extreme recklessness, what about the part with people who should be also be accountable? Who are the ones who should also be held accountable? And you know, there is a tape that I saw this morning talking about accountability. And I'll tell you all, I got a lot to talk about this morning. Lot to talk about. Because even though, right, before I go to the accountability part, some of the usual, well, I shouldn't say the usual suspects. Some people, I'll tell you all, I'm not a lawyer, but you have people with legal training who are saying this murder charge against these people is unfair, unjust, and let me pull up one of the
an argument being peddled that if the persons are charged, then they cannot testify before the commission. Now, let me tell you something. Any reasonably sensible lawyer, let me repeat that. Any reasonably sensible lawyer who choose to act for the crew would know or ought to know that the commission of inquiry will incriminate members of the crew. Any commission of inquiry will incriminate members of the crew. There is no doubt about that. And therefore, a lawyer would advise that person not to give evidence or not to answer questions that will self-incriminate. And the person who is the recipient of that advice would be within his right not to self-incriminate, because the laws, the Evidence Act says that you can decline any question where the answer can incriminate you. So they would have remained silent anyhow. That's the point I'm making. They would have remained silent anyhow. Maybe they gave statements already. I am not sure. I haven't seen the file. But the DPP, I have to assume that the DPP acted reasonably. I have no reason to doubt that the DPP acted based upon the evidence that was presented to her. And the DPP is not exercising these powers alone. The DPP has about 24 lawyers working with her. About 24 lawyers working with her. And as she said in her statement, her advice was not vacuous. She consulted case law authorities. What that means is that she followed cases where murder charges were instituted in disasters of this magnitude. That's what it means. And successfully instituted too. But as I said, in any event, the court can break down the charge to manslaughter. Every court has a right to do so, and the DPP has a right to appeal. We have given, the PPP government has given the state a right which the state never had to appeal in criminal matters. Because we are concerned also for the victims of crimes, as we are concerned to protect to protect the interest of the accused persons. Justice is not a one-way street. You have victims and you have accused. And both sides have interests. And the scales of justice must weigh them. The accused have a lot of safeguards, presumption of innocence, constitutional rights, presumption of innocence, right to remain silent, right not to incriminate. All of those will be observed. The victims also have rights. The state must protect the interest of both. The scales of justice must not be unbalanced. That is why Lady Justice is blindfolded. She ought not to see who is the defendant and who is the accused person. And she must balance that scale equally. So don't let people tell you that one side must have rights. In this case, we have 100 Guyanese. We don't know the final number yet. 73 already dead, already found. This is a massive disaster. And as the president said yesterday, no stone will be left unturned in his and the government's efforts to get to the bottom of this. This is the first step already found.
Delta9 travelers, you see when you don't put a stop to certain thing, people just continue using it over and over and over against you. Because if at a certain point people would have said, hey, done with this, no stone unturned, stupidness where you keep telling people, and do what you're actually supposed to be doing, or we would not put you back in these positions of power to be able to exercise that amount of authority. And, you know, that's pretty much what it's going to be. Now, if persons were on it like that, would they still come and tell you things like this after they hear this no stone unturned over and over and over and over again? Or is because people taking this conversation and just sitting back? Maybe you're doing that. And then we're going to hear from some persons who are part of the defense team, you know, so we could understand what's really going on with all aspects to this scapegoating we could clearly see going on in Guyana right now.
This is a massive disaster. And as the president said yesterday, no stone will be left unturned in his and the government's efforts to get to the bottom of this.
No stone unturned.
This is the first step. This is the first step.
You know well to tell no stone unturned, watch.
Accountability will go far and will go wide.
I got my grandchildren, they don't even eating because they miss their father. That's what we
Since they're telling people no stone unturned.
Until we get to know what, all the promises are put to go get out. All know nothing, no man. This human being, I punish a mindless one there. This human being, come on, y'all, do something. Do something. I need justice for my son. I need it and I need it fast. Primers can't shoot people and just get out free. And I can't sleep at night. My daughter can't sleep at night. None of them can't see their children crying for their father. Come on, man, y'all get the heart. I need justice for my son. This is all I want. Justice.
And they're telling me, but no stone unturned, no stone unturned, right? No stone unturned, no stone unturned. Greetings, we're on to Delta9 Media.
Blessed Thursday morning to you all. You know, hope you have a blessed night and everything alright. Yeah, man. These guys don't deal with stone, they deal with rock or granite. You ever try to lift up granite from come to top? Now, if these guys take some time to the side, it takes sometimes 4 persons for this thing.
I'm telling you.
You see? It's not that the people that are accepting it, that's their motto. Regardless if how much time people tell them move from here with them. Them don't care, bro. These people don't care. They're going to still come and spit the BS in your face.
Yeah.
So even if you call them out, they're still going to spit it in your face. Because these guys feel they're powerful and they're almighty. They're powerful and they're almighty. You see? That's why they do what they got to do there. Guyana do what they got to do there. In e-bikes and all these things.
And then coming and telling you, but no stone unturned.
Yeah, they don't keep saying it. That's the motto. That's Ali motto. No stone unturned, but if they're turning looking for torn stone, they're dealing with granite or rock. Things that you need machine to help lift, not man. You see? So the BS they keep coming with, what the people need to do, bro, is shut down the country. Get up. Everybody get up from their village. The whole tongue have enough. Tongue alone have enough. They go in front of the U.S. Embassy and disrupt their business, bro. Them is really have to step in this thing.
Well,
go in front of U.S. Not Guyana, not even the Parliament building, U.S. Embassy. That's where you have to go. That's the people. Once U.S. cannot do a proper business on these days, they're going to call the government into question. And if you can't answer them or stop it, they're going to find a way to remove them. You understand? You come here in New York, don't do the next thing on Church Avenue. Go to the Guyana Embassy. Yes or no? And interrupt their business in New York. And they just make good money there. When you have a passport and this and that,
situation where the treatment now
stop the money from flowing. Go to the village office in your village and shut it down. Stop the business from proceeding, man. I dare listen.
Big up yourself. That's the views that Parsons is holding right now. But guess what? It's strategic moves, you know. Strategic moves that's important. Because ultimately, we gotta ask ourselves, where does the power lie? The power is in the hands of the people. We're the ones that put these persons in these positions that they hold, right? That award them with these authority that they hold and use in the way that is being used right in front of our faces. I want to say a special welcome to everyone that's in the chat. Thanks for being a part of this live presentation, right? Big up to all the frequent travelers, big up to all the new travelers. And let's hear some of what's going on from the legal team. It's important that this information gets out to the broadest possible audience. So I'm going to ask that if something brought you to the channel, hit that thumbs up button and help to share it out to as many persons that needs to be updated with everything that's trending in Guyana and the diaspora and everything that's going on with this MV Barima tragedy and the scapegoating of the crew. Let's hear right now from persons that are a part of the legal team, Honorable Dr. Todd and Honorable Mr. Patterson, and guess who else is on the panel as well with them. The coding was really taking place right here. Mr. Burke. Let's jump straight into these details right now.
Are criminally charged. So you have a commission of inquiry to start. Now they are going to be competent witnesses to give evidence, but they're not going to be compellable witnesses to give evidence, right? Because they're not going to testify against themselves and testify against themselves. When right. You can use this information against me in a court of law. So right away, you could see government's intention is to control the narrative, right, and who will give the information at the COI.
Do you know if they gave statements when they were arrested?
They did give statements when they were arrested, but The police in Guyana, they have a reputation of only advancing what is there in their interest.
Right.
They never give everything. All right. And so it's a situation where the police cannot even come to court. Now, this is a clear rule of evidence. The police cannot come to court and say what is in the ordinary statement of these men without them coming, because they can't, it will be hearsay evidence.
Hearsay, right.
So really and truly, you may very well have a situation where government is only premising its narrative on a few persons who were there who will not be able to speak to the totality of the incident, which means we are never going to get down to the full truth of it.
Right. Let me ask you, what do you think of the DPP? I will put it in my way. You can respond however you want. I believe that there was a conspiracy between the government, the police, and the DPP to charge these men with murder to advance the government's political objective here, which is to demonstrate to the world that they are holding people accountable. And but what do you make of the fact that the DPP, as you said just now, you put it elegantly, that eloquently rather, the DPP advised that people to be charged, and she admitted that today, without the benefit of at the conclusion of any investigation, without any evidence, without any facts. She advised that these people, that's a conspiracy with the police and the government. She has no basis to give that advice. Is that ethical?
I will say this, that it's dangerous to, especially in a matter of this magnitude. The complexity of this matter requires a very thorough investigation. And I would believe that the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution needed to be a little more careful in relation to how they proceed with criminal charges in the face of the complexity of this matter, where they do not have all the evidence. And that's the diplomatic part.
Is it unethical based on the canons of the legal profession in the Commonwealth? Is that unethical by a prosecutor?
I will say it's outside of the norm. It is outside of the acceptable practices.
So Rickford and Dex, I'm not a lawyer, so therefore, obviously, you know, I mean, and I fell afoul of the Director of Public Prosecutions on several occasions. So I have no qualms about saying what I have to say. But I want to make an analogy to how the Director of Public Prosecution operates.
Right.
Nigel Dharamlal was picked up accused of raping a young lady.
An underage girl.
Yes. The police did their investigations and sent the file to this Director of Public Prosecution, and she returned it to say it's incomplete. I need more X, Y, Z. The same thing the text is saying. You know, I mean, go, but your file is incomplete. For me to charge this man, I need more information, more facts, more details. So she knows, right, what the incomplete file looks like. So therefore, it's not an alien thing to her. So I say that. So therefore, obviously, as Dex is saying, outside the norm, she knows what is norm. So I would say that very, very unusual. Her
She's
position.
part of a conspiracy. She's part of a conspiracy to make people look good. And to charge to give them there's no question about that.
But Rickford. No, I mean, and I have no problems endorsing that conspiracy theory. But what I want to let the viewers know is that we can do things about it. You know what I mean? We can't, of course, she's a constitutional appointment. We can't remove her. But we can start writing and petitioning and say we have no confidence in her. We can start highlighting it. You know what I mean? She went to the CCJ Dexter and they upbraided her for what how she carried out her function.
As a matter of fact, because she actually lied to Jay.
Exactly.
She lied to Jay.
We can start making a case. We don't have to sit down behind our keyboards and on Facebook. We can start proactively doing things because our country is our life in it.
Before we get to that part, we have 15 minutes more. We'll come to that part, what we can do in terms of politically, internationally, and so on. But I want to focus on how do we get justice for these victims, the ones who are alive, the ones who are dead, the ones who will remain in that watery grave, where the government is now saying they don't want to bring the evidence up. They don't want everything that would allow the establishment of evidence of what took place here. The government is denying. They don't want to produce a manifest. I believe they have the manifest. They don't want to produce it. They're now changing the rules in terms of cargo. They don't want us to know how much cargo was there. So now they're saying, oh, you know, the capacity was X and capacity was Y. They blurred the lines there. Now they don't want us to figure out that they got probably another 150 body in the water. So if you bring that ship up, you're going to find over 100 more bodies, which means they lied again. So how do we get justice? Can the family members of those people who are still missing go to court to get an order to force them to bring that wreckage up so that they could recover their bodies? Can they do that? Could we hire some international legal firm to sue the government? One, for compensation. Two, to compel them to bring up that wreckage so that people can recover their loved ones.
You know, government is taking a posture that it will not act further than that. I think if you that of course can be an action in which they can be a class action in which you try to force government to act. I am not too hopeful that they will still act. Because they seem very much adamant that they do not want to have the public see what is there, and they do not really want to have a true reflection of.
You're saying they're going to defy the orders of the court? Orders?
I am not sure. I am not sure that. let me say it this way. It will be a long battle of getting the government to act in this particular way, because I believe the government has time and time again has shown the Guyanese public and the world that they are going to do what they want to do. Listen to me. They have seen this government twist even court orders. We have seen them, and look at this. I can give you a list of orders made by the court, and still this government has not adhered to that. What they do is frustrate litigants by dragging litigants right through the whole process of the hierarchical structure of the court system. And by the time you're done, you have time is of the essence in this particular matter. The longer you take is the more and more and more you might not find what you want.
When the PPP wanted to install themselves in the government, they forced the court to have these hearings rapidly, straight to the CCJ. We can do that. We understand time is of the essence. We can do that. But the thing is, our attorneys willing to take this matter to court and compel government to act. I mean, you can only answer for yourself. But I think we've reached a point in Guyana where we have resigned ourselves to accept whatever the government dictatorship wants to do. We just throw up our arms and say that's what they're going to do.
So, Rickford, I mean, Dexter could talk about a legal case, but let me tell you what's happening. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock,
right.
Most of the survivors that are in town are going to go to State House. I know this because two of them actually came to my office for advice today.
And they're going to give you money, and that's it.
Right, but my advice to them is that, I mean, obviously, my advice, if they're giving out money, take the money, but then sure you don't sign it like they made you do the Media victims would have done, sent out this offer or something like that. I mean, they're couched that they only giving you this here to get by.
And you can't
see them. Right, so you can't sue them in the future. But these are poor people, salt of the earth people. So they're gonna throw some money at them tomorrow. Guarantee you. Ali gonna come sit down and pretend how he started crying, you know what I mean? You know, he's crying and think how that he lost his marbles. And they will throw money to some people who, for the last week, I could tell you about 2 victims. They got $50,000 when they landed, and they put them on a plane to Georgetown, and they had to fend for themselves. They had to buy their own clothes back again, buy a new cell phone, and so and all their livelihood. These 2 guys, their livelihood went down with the boat. They don't know, they can't hold out for much longer. Right? Let's be realistic about that. They can't hold up much longer because they gotta go and get back their ration. One guy has a metal detector, he's into gold and those things like that. He has his workmen up there. So they will throw money at them tomorrow and take advantage of their impoverished state. And they will get them in return. They said we're not gonna make this fine. But sign this petition for me that says, let us leave a vessel down there and let's make it a monument. Right? And then they'll come back to say, and actually, that's where they're going. They say, listen to me, the families of the person, ask them to leave it there, and we respect the family. Right, they're not going to throw a lot of money at these poor people who are desperate now. You know what I mean? They don't know what they're going to do. You know what I mean? A lady a man lost, a woman lost her husband, who's the breadwinner of the family. School opening, I mean, they must be taking because we care gone to buy stock to carry up to Barima and those things like that, you know what I mean, or the passage. They're the end of their line. And the government, as wicked as they are, they're going to use the impoverished state of the people and their grief. Guaranteed, ladies and gentlemen, you guaranteed that they will get the survivors in exchange for money to write to say, and the families to write to say, their wishes are that the MV Barima does not be raised so we could find out the truth about what happened to it and show how lying and deceitful they are, you know what I mean? And they'll do that. And it's that we as a caring government, right, respect the wishes of these persons. Guaranteed, 100% guaranteed that's what's going to happen. That's why I don't
accept that. Let's say they go that route. We know that's what they did with the Mocha people. We know that's what they did with the people from Peters Hall. Let's say they go that route. And there are some people who don't accept them. In the case of the Mocha family, those people are still languishing. In the case of Madi, they're still languishing. What will happen to those families? Could we get international representation? What we'll have to do, raise funds? I mean, and at the end, how can we compel this government to act? And that's the thing. And then you have the courts. They made sure they move on the chancellor who's independent. They put in, and you don't have to comment on this, Dexter, they put in Navendra Singh, who is their man, their gatekeeper in the judiciary. And so you have, they made the chief magistrate, they kicked out the black chief magistrate and put this new Indian woman as a chief magistrate. That alone is so obnoxious because you have apparently 2 people as chief magistrate. I don't understand what's happening in Guyana. I don't understand why Guyanese accept this nonsense by these people. But let me circle back. 2 questions. What can the families who don't want to accept that offer do? That's number 1. And second, that's what the Commission of Inquiry. What do you make of the fact that the Commission of Inquiry does not have anybody with investigative skills? No law enforcement, prosecutorial kind of investigative skills. That's number 1. And secondly, nobody from Guyana who was a former harbor master, a former captain of the boat, that particular boat, with knowledge of the ocean, with knowledge of the operations of THD, with knowledge of the engineering of that particular vessel. Nothing. What are these people going to investigate?
Well, if I'm to answer the first one in relation to the first question you mentioned, was that in relation to the
What the families could do if they don't want to accept the government's
or
offer?
the families. I will advise, at least I would advise the family to seek independent legal advice, because the government cannot divorce itself from liability here at all. And so I would think that they want to be properly advised. A lot of the people in the Madia dorm tragedy, they were not advised. The parents to those young children, many of them were not advised. Many of them signed documents collecting funds, and thereafter you have a matter now before the court where even those who signed are challenging the whole settlement, in saying that they were not properly advised and that there was a lot of misrepresentation, etc. But then the families now can spare and save themselves from all that trauma by getting independent legal advice before moving forward. There are many lawyers in Guyana and abroad who would love to jump on this matter and help them. They need to reach out and not be coerced and bullied and by the government to accept any form of settlement. I believe I'm agreeing with Mr. Patterson here. They can receive the money, but just don't sign any document. Don't refuse the help.
They haven't recovered his body, and this is due to the gross incompetence of this government. You don't even have a relief strategy to safety, to recovering of this body. The first thing you did to show your gross incompetence, you had a distress signal from between 11 and 11:30. You had a distress signal. That distress signal, you did not get there on the scene until 5:30 in the morning. So can you imagine the amount of cries that that people get hopeless and went down? People who get tired of waiting for rescue. All these people went down because you failed to turn up on time. From 11 o'clock in the night till 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, that is when your team arrived to rescue people. Then from then till now, you haven't devised a strategy to bring the boat up in your nut heads. You can't tell yourself that people are trapped inside of that boat. So many people are trapped inside of that boat. Until now, you now coming with a consultation to bring that boat up. You need a consultation. You in shame. That is definite shame. You understand? And I wouldn't deny the fact that you guys have a hand in the sabotaging of that boat, because you had to do this to hide the attention from the billion-dollar farm that you have. And I feel so. That's my belief. You understand? That's my belief. Now, this boat, you make provision for this boat in Parliament since 2023. You want to do a feasibility study on where you're buying, see where you're buying, know when this boat comes, if you can, what type of stelling you need to moor this boat. No killing 2026, you don't even have a stelling since 2023.
Parties that there needed to be a wider, well, they're not even wider, but there needed to be consultation on the selection of the commissioners. The government didn't do that. The president went ahead, he named his men, and there are so many allegations leveled against some of them, which raises serious concern, but more particularly in terms of their investigative ability. And that is to tell you government's intention. They're intended to make sure that there are certain areas that the commission will never be venturing into because of limitations, etc. So again, it is an issue where the likelihood of Guyana having have to be shortchanged stands great, and the concerns that we will have, the Guyanese people will have, will I think even after remaining. But I think I take a different view on the matter, not from the combined opposition, but on the fact of I am more interested in the terms of reference. I've seen in the Dom Fire that even though there was an investigation, the scope for which that the commissioners could have gone was very limited. And I believe that is where the enemy is in this whole thing. That's where the demon, that's where the trickery is, where the terms of reference do not give these people the scope to really.
Rosainis Valenzuela.
All right, and your family bodies were recovered. Tell us what happened.
Pues abidi yo hotel den, pole den como wo de bari. How much a week in Tel Aviv? And then Tel Aviv studi, abidi went to whole day, nothing nakal, nothing no. You know, I'm abidi yo so went to pandemic, and then Tel Aviv, abidi then go pay for do the tomb. Pero abidi no mos video nothing, no photo nothing porque police con arrest abidi. And mi yo so tell him mi yo so near the person move pan den Belengron, I go pan the place where den Bershi for what a Belengron. And then tell abidi see well abidi can video sorting thing like that, understand? And bangi abidi 200,000. I don't know for what. And they want to use sign. When my husband tell him to sign, they don't want to see what really happened. I mean, I thought
how many people were buried in that in that town? Did anybody ask you what type of burial you wanted?
No.
Nobody asked you that. Were you taken back by seeing that? How you feel about, what you saw?
Me feel so sad because you know what embarrassing, like a excavator, truck kerosene. Me not please them. We just tell them I need justice. And then no one will attack, nothing funny ways, nothing like that, understand? Fine, what say? I lose my niece, I lose my sister. I can't see back then. I can't talk to them anymore. The people must understanding the thing what me going through. Me just me understand she get for rest in peace. Pero when they promise tomorrow, they call and hasta now nobody na call, nobody na reach abidi am telling tilo waso where me para le maika, then I tell abidi nothing like that. When and there's a person who then tell abidi this morning.
Can you come here a little bit? You speak clear English and so on. Would you just come here because I'm here a little bit? Could you tell us a little bit about who offered money and stuff like that?
Well, the president told us that we are willing to $1,000 for his father. There's just a compensation, like if he needs anything from us. But later on, he will get out to the family and he want to discuss it over with the family. But that's them part. But the point was I getting from is the dead how he burying and the promise that they make to me. Because I usually want to do the wrong about. And they done since Saturdays and permit in the village. So they done Wednesday. Now I reach out back to the president again this morning during the meeting. And he ordered either just come build this tomb and we have to do the rest and take out this body and put this body back in this. We never no responsibility.
You're saying the president told you that this morning?
The president told me that this morning. We don't take no photographs, no videos, or do nothing because the police were arrested.
Yeah. Okay. Where was this meeting?
This meeting was at the State House.
State House. And how do you feel about that, hearing that?
Yes, I feel real upset. I just see brother-line the family, but many girl in good.
All right. And I know this is her dad, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But he doesn't speak English, right?
Yes, pero he said, ellos son a lo que before, ellos son near. Let the people, let Belengron, please. Let the body go on in Belengron, that he said.
Tell them that he didn't attend the fake brunch this morning. He didn't attend it. He did not attend.
Who? So he didn't go to the brunch, yeah.
So we get to hear directly from persons affected. So this narrative don't get swayed or gaslighted. Big up to everybody that's a part of the chat right now, all the frequent travelers, all the persons live with us for the first time. Morning flights. Morning flights right here with Delta9 Media. Big up to all the travelers in the chat. What's going on in the chat right now? Who's live with us? Who is live with us? I had to get to that troll just now. And I want to say this to the moderators. Don't be afraid to get rid of them trolls. If you see them on the trolling and I might not notice them right away, get rid of them. Get rid of them. We ain't got time for waste from foolishness. So when you catch the trolls them, just, invite them to the block party or, put them on timeout if it's not nothing that serious. But thanks for bringing it to my attention nonetheless. We got the poll question of the day. Which is on the screen right now. Let me see how persons are participating so far with it. Who holds primary blame for the MV Barima tragedy? The ministry and systematic neglect, the captain and the crew members. Now, 76% is saying that it's the ministry and systematic neglect. 24% is saying it's the captain and the crew members. How you feel about this question? What do you think about it? What are your views? Participate in the poll that's up on the question. That's the poll that's up on the live right now, so that we could analyze this thing in a real way. Is this thing one big scapegoating going on with these crew members? Should we really be looking more at what was going on with not just this vessel, but as Mr. Bailey would have highlighted earlier, other vessels that's a part of the fleet that's traveling on the waters right now? The man was using cement body and sugar, allegedly. And then they got people traveling them distance for that amount of hours in a vessel like that. When Guyana, on paper, got some of the wealthiest citizens per capita. Why? Because of the resources in the nation and the small population. How are we living like that and allowing it? Like if we get another life that we can choose for live good in the other life, so we could, live however another person will it in this one. While they enjoy the most of the resources, while they enjoy the sweet from Guyana. That makes sense? Now, nothing is given. This is not what I'm addressing right now. But what I'm saying is, the resources of the nation is for everybody. So persons shouldn't be forced to travel in this manner. Right? 79% is saying ministry and systematic neglect. Captain and crew members, 21%. Who holds primary blame for the MV Barima tragedy? We analyzing it, sussing out what's really going on with this thing. Welcome into the chat. Everybody that's on the live right now, big up yourself. Thanks for being a part of this live presentation. Analyzing it, because persons are talking about it locally, persons are talking about it internationally. And we're going to get into some of those views right now, right here on Delta9 Media. Early morning live.
Never address you as a minister again. You're a failure. You're a loser. You're a waste. You're a disgrace to this nation. You should be jailed.
The boat was not overloaded by passengers or by cargo. There was no engine problem or any mechanical problem. Even the survivors who made videos from the hospital, they're telling you what happened. And it had nothing to do with overload and boat taking in water. It had to do with the type. Please be advised that the MV Barima is licensed to carry 284 tons of cargo. The cargo manifest shows that we had 268 tons, way below the cargo load. Secondly, the MV Barima is licensed to carry 397 passengers, and we only had 116 passengers on board. The misinformation of overloading as the cause of this incident must be dealt with for what it is. Misinformation and something to create panic and public mischief.
I promised the grandmother of Mr. Delon that, and she asked of me, and Mr. Best, I've been following you. I've been listening to you. Every time you speak, if I don't listen to it, my grandson comes and say, Mom, look, Deepak had something else to say. She wanted me to ask our Bishop Edgel, because I don't think he should ever be called a minister again, a simple question. And she wanted me to ask all of Guyana to join her in this message, to ask Edgel a simple question. Why was her grandson charged for murder when he himself said, you just heard the video, the boat was not overloaded? This woman met me in tears yesterday, and I promise her the first video I will do is to ask Edgel those simple questions. So here I am, fulfilling those promises. Edgel, how was it that you said publicly, as the minister, former minister, that the boat was not overloaded?
This is what I want to know.
I will never address you as a minister again. You're a failure. You're a loser. You're a waste. You're a disgrace to this nation.
Telling you.
You should be jailed. Second question. You yourself just spoke to the weight and the passengers. So my question to you, Mr. Edgel, and for that grandmother to get the justice she deserved for her grandson, how were the weight calculated? We would have visited that terminal on multiple occasions, and we're yet to see one scale. So when you charge this man for overloading the boat, what were you expecting to use to weigh the amount of cargo that he placed on the said boat that you charged him now, or your government, or the government? Because I don't think the police charged him. Those charges were charges that was instructed. Those were instruction to this is a misdirection tactics. You want us to look the other way, but we're not going to. Go down to the wharf today with your big mouth like you always use and raise your voice and show us a working scale that terminal have. And when you show us that scale, then we'll understand that you were able to give the DPP the evidence that they need. Until then, and only then, we will ever listen to anything you or this government have to say again. Free that man and the rest of the crew. We are demanding that that crew be free. Let the COI get to the bottom of what really transpired in this country. I will never address you as a minister again. You're a failure. You're a loser. You're a waste. You're a disgrace to this nation. You should be jailed.
The boat was not.
I trust within the government. And you know, it is one simple thing that destroy it. Well, not even one, two, right? And the others that follow up it, that literally destroy my faith in government in terms of being transparent. Yeah, I tell you, one was the Henry Boys murder, right? For me, I got a question mark about the 2 persons that going to jail for that murder. I don't have no proof. Yeah, I'm saying this is just my personal opinion. Right? So let me state it. So I have no proof whether they do it, whether they're guilty, whether they're not guilty. But for the love of God, I pray that is the right person that you are catch, and is 2 right individual going to jail for life for those murder. If it's 2 right individual, by all means, it's supposed to rot in jail. If it's the 2 right individual, you must choice of words. Right? By all means, they should rot in jail because that was a heinous crime. Now, move on to crime number 2. That was never solved, Adriana Young. That was never solved. And from then, I lose all faith in the government. That child was never in that pool. I got to regurgitate this one and bring it back. You know why? Because it still got a bad taste in my mouth. You saw how quick the captain, without the boat and everything, you're willing to put it to court, pass it through this and make it go to jail one time? What happened to Adriana Young? She was never in that pool. That pool was searched about 48 times by many different individuals. And mind you, and as I tell you all again, don't sell me no dreams. Let me show you something. This is my slipper. Should I put weight on this slipper, throw it in any pool? You have to wear 9 feet, 12 feet. I could come 10 days after show you where my slipper is located. And a human body is bigger than this. She was much larger than this by far. So there's no way you could have missed her in that pool. Let me tell you that. You have to, I would never buy that. Right? But guess what? We never get no answer. We kick up, we make 2 nights to 2 man, and you wash down the rug. You have to, I would never forget because you know what? I'm a parent. I have no blood related to her, but guess what? She's a Guyanese. She's a child of the soil. We never got justice for that. Yeah, I tell you, and I never, as long as I got life in this body, forget what y'all did. Because y'all didn't look into that thoroughly with no fine teeth comb. All we just get is a lot of fake promises. And 2 man, y'all know we can stop back nice and y'all go back to business as usual. But guess what? As I tell you, a bucket the second drop all the time. Right? It empty and we taking drop out. And one of these days it's gonna run over. And Guyanese me to the stage right now that it's running over. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Y'all been getting away with too much for too long. Y'all telling because we're not speaking and we're not speaking out collectively, make y'all keep getting away with it. But the people right now, fed up. Look what y'all do with our local economy, bro. With our local China take over the whole of Guyana right now. China control all the business. And you know the minister turning to tell us, oh, we gotta compete. Compete with what? Compete with who? When they're not paying the same amount of taxes that we paying. Make it make sense. How could we compete? Y'all had one job only to do as government. And it's look out for the people of Guyana. Look out for the citizens of Guyana. The sons and daughters of the soil of Guyana. Y'all didn't do that. Y'all look out for your friends and family. And to hell with anybody else. And y'all investors. That's where y'all bank y'all money with the investors. The people who come into Guyana and claim investment. That's who y'all look out for. To hell with us. Cost of living right now is through the roof. It's through the roof. I get to the market to see a bundle boy like they say. Like they say, we used to get for 300 and 200 and 500 at my time, right? $1,000 a bottle of coconut water, 2,000. Yeah, I tell you, and all this ridiculous price, bro. It's what y'all really think y'all doing. Y'all see what y'all doing. There's not governing in the country. That is not governing. That's not good governance at all. Let me tell you, what you guys doing is not good governance. Yeah, y'all gaining. Y'all gaining. Y'all friends and cronies gaining. Y'all investor friends gaining. But my Guyanese brothers and sisters punishing when y'all gaining. Y'all have one job and one job only. Look out for the people of Guyana. That's why they elect y'all into power, bro. And y'all fail miserably. Miserable. I come talking about transparency.
Are the one who
heavy.
No, I know it heavy. I know it heavy.
I can't hold back.
I know it heavy.
I cannot hold back. It is close to my heart.
The truth is, when I really started analyze some of the videos and some of the stories coming out of what took place with the boat, right? What's the name of the boat again? The
Barima, MV Barima.
MV Barima.
I think so. Let me make sure.
What I saw, what I heard, and what I read had my heart in a twist yesterday.
Yeah, boy.
That I just couldn't, and to know that this is
MV Barima,
to think that this is our neighbors, who is like our family, our extended family.
Every brothers and sisters, bro.
That's craziness.
My favorite doubles is Guyanese.
And I told myself that it had to be poor people on that boat. I just like
come on,
because without even you make me dig it. And when
rich
I
people are the one boat.
I say, bro, So the death toll right now is, I think, 73.
And they're charging Capitan with everything.
When I see Captain balling yesterday, boy, when I see Captain balling, I understand.
2 murder charge.
I understand that somebody had to be held liable.
Well,
right?
and in maritime law, anything happen with our ship is the captain is
okay.
That whole thing, the captain is go down with the ship. That's more literal than we think.
Okay, fair. However, it could never be the captain.
They set up captain to fail.
Never. Because captain is doing his job.
Yeah.
And if captain say, I'm not sailing this boat no more because this boat not fit for the ocean.
Well, stand your ground.
Nobody going home.
But stand your ground.
Stand your ground.
Yeah, we had to do
trumpet. Is all right. So, stand your ground because you're saying you have family to provide for, right?
Right. Who going provide for them now?
Provide for them now?
Great point.
It don't matter, trumpet. It don't matter. It can't bend based on. I understand that because I walk light in it because it's so emotional. Because it's watch how normal we get so nonchalant when it comes to that.
Look how we just
like that is something big in the Caribbean where that is not
one of the biggest Caribbean tragedies of our lifetime.
Look how Guyana stand up in terms of
business as usual.
But here when I know it is who have more corn would feed more fowl, right? Watch how they dealt with the owner of the hotel.
Right. And my mind went back over there.
And just they cover up that for months up to now.
Up to now,
right?
Up to now, they're trying to that girl die and dies.
So it goes to show.
Yes,
power.
Boy, yes,
it's just a play.
And that is where my problem lies.
Yeah.
And that, remember the conversation we had on Monday?
The power is supposed to be with the people.
The power is not in the
power.
people.
Yes, the power is with us to get them there.
But we exactly, and then after the day, that's it. We lose all the power, and that's my problem.
So and then we'll get back power again to get them back there or get somebody else there.
The only time we could get back that power is if we get violent, and I'm not inciting violence.
But the situation, but the one
that's the only thing that's make them stop and listen.
That Elon touched on with the hotel and the girl, right, who died in the pool. You realize that the bun down the hotel, well, the bun part of the hotel and all of that.
Yes,
and
died. Now look at it. You want to take this man and make you a scapegoat, before you take a jail and tell a jail, hey, take some time out of the work. You take some time out of the work. Because you got to hold some sort of accountability for this. So relax yourself, Lil. I remember, let me tell you certain things I don't forget, I remember driving up Durban Street, pollusively clear. And when I meet to Durban and Victor, there's a big roadblock. Yeah, tell me if this is right by Guyanese brother and sister. There is a big roadblock. Inquire what is going on. Oh, the minister blocked the road. That's the one Bishop Edgel. Why block the road? I got my dad, Can't get for go my dad to drop some food. Why you block the road? Because dad to get him married. You can tell me if there's no abuse of power, boy. You can tell me there's no abuse of power. If he should get the privilege to block the road because dad get married, any other guy should have to block the road because their dad to get him married to, or the son get him married to. Because remember now, when you elect a government office is to do the work for the people, not for themselves. They be paid and paid handsomely to do that work. Plus it comes with a lot of perks that we don't get. So I don't get it twisted. Government, all the ministers in there, from the president right now, they're all public servants. But unless we could open your eye and realize that, we forever gonna in this problem. Because as I said again, because of some of y'all so loyal to y'all party, y'all don't want to call a spade a spade. That's why we ended up in the shit we end up, that we got Chinese dominating our economy now. Dominating our gold bush. Chinese doing gold, Chinese doing lumber, Chinese doing sand truck, Chinese doing everything. How is it possible? You think anywhere we can left Guyana or Tabo, we go in China open any business? Think about that for a minute, my brothers and sisters. You think we could left Guyana and talk we go in China even open a sweetie shop? They would not allow that. They would not allow that because guess why? The government of China got its people interest at hand and got it at heart and put its people first. But nobody's putting us first. And we sit down, we smile, we giggle because some we eating off of the soup table, some we drinking, so we ain't got a problem. We don't have a problem. You know what I mean? But it's wrong. Everything is wrong about what is happening in that country right now, bro. Everything. I lost faith in government long now. Long now. Yeah, I tell you, I would never, as I tell y'all, I would never sell out my brothers and sisters for no riches. Because the ending none, we can't take it with us. I never see nobody go on the other side and the guy with all the wealth and the riches and kite on the other side because there's no use to them. Where they're going, it is no use to them. Right? We need to stand up, as I keep telling y'all, and speak collectively with one voice. I love what I ask.
They stand on the stage, all smiles, no shame, pointing their fingers, playing their blame game. They swear on the people, dirty politicians. They stand.
So in case we don't want to give the police no reason for shoot at us, we can protest and protest peacefully. Guys, our democratic right. Yeah, I tell you. I don't say we got to get a permission, but with the way they're running out, we can't go to them. We got to do what we got to do. It is what it is. This is what I tell you guys. It is what it is. But I'm asking the government, and since you guys claim you're transparent, please give Mr. Mohammed the permission to bring her back that boat. Give him the permission. You don't ask him for a copper from none of you guys. He asks him for a dime. He's going to do it out of his pocket. Right? If you guys claim you're so transparent, give him the permission to bring up the boat. And let's see what would be the finding. Well, you guys got something you guys are scared? You're afraid of something? You got something on that boat that we're not supposed to know about? If you're transparent, give him the permission. Let him bring it up. Let him bring in the team. He don't say he got a team standby to bring up that boat. Give him the permission. Right? Because y'all don't have our best interests as right now at our government. Y'all don't. The Chinese dominating our economy, putting a lot of our small shops and business out of business. Y'all telling you? And y'all don't give a rat's ass about what's going on. Good day, my brothers and sisters. Well, good day to one and all, to all my Guyanese.
I've seen several comments suggesting that the captain had the ultimate right to refuse to operate the ferry given his knowledge of the various dangers that existed. Yes, he had the right, but did he have the privilege to do so? No. When the teachers objected and they striked because they weren't comfortable with their working conditions, they wanted better pay for the livelihood, for the efforts that they were investing, many persons had a problem with that. They want more money. They're selfish. They gotta think about the children. What is so different now with the teachers and the captain of the ferry? The teachers objected. Y'all weren't pleased that the teachers objected. Now this man hold on for the job, and y'all felt that he should have objected and lose his job. All that's happening again, systemic. Had that man been in a better financial position where he know he could have rest his head and the family would have been taken care of and he would have get a peace of mind, he probably would have objected and said, I ain't doing it. And he could have walked off the job. Nobody not to fight, but he didn't have the privilege. I remember a co-worker losing their job. They were fired because they held on to some expired lotion, cream for your skin. Now, if that co-worker had access to a better salary, don't you think they could have afforded to buy the cream out of pocket? Similarly, with the captain, if he were in a better position, don't you think he could have walked off the job? He could have refused? And this...
We're going to publish the quotation on VPAC later today. How much it's going to cost to bring up the vessel, the amount of time the government just have to pay and sign off on it, and they will be on their way here and rise that vessel within 3 weeks. People can have their answers. People can have their loved ones, their babies. That woman whose heart was breaking, that was begging you, Mr. President, to bring her baby daughter up from under the water. Those people will be able to recover the bodies. Now you're going to take a little longer now because you guys so evil. You could have done this much sooner. And now y'all leave it so long, the fishes are eaten away and a lot of people disintegrated. But guess what, Mr. President? Is a different age. We could get DNA. We could get DNA, scrape every bone and collect DNA from it, match it up, get some cheek swabs from the family and cross-match the DNA. And again, the lab in Guyana was supposed to be doing DNA analysis. Y'all must check in on them and see how they're doing after we spend millions of dollars there. We send the DNA overseas, get it sequenced, and start matching those people with their families so those poor people can get some bloody closure. So those poor people can get some closure to know their loved ones are not lying in a watery grave. How dare you about leaving it there as a memorial? What sick person in the PPP came up with that idea? You guys are sick. You're sick. People want to know their babies are and their loved ones, and you but leave it there and honor to the memorial. No, you. You're supposed to get a map, a detailed map showing you what going on, who dead, whatever going on with the boat, a 3D a 3D map of it. Then the diver will go down and confirm the vessel there. When the diver go down, the shipman tell me he will send the diver to weld a rope to the vessel. Not tie. The man say he send a diver to weld a rope to the vessel. Don't now mean if it in such a the vessel would drift and you're tying a buoy to it. So if anything, depending on where the seabed, if the vessel could drift, the buoy gonna move with it. So you would always know the position of the vessel. Next thing you can do is send in a salvage crew. You call in a salvage crew. He said, well, based on where it is there, he said, I could get a salvage in a week. I said, 1 week? He said, yeah, but let's make it 3, because he didn't do no site survey yet or nothing. He said, let me make it 3 weeks. 3 weeks, right? So, over there. Now the EPIRB just show us that the boat was a rusty dead trap, because EPIRB not supposed to float away. It's supposed to be tethered to the vessel, but we saw it float away in the water. And now that's gonna happen if it wasn't attached properly, or they got 2 metal screws on it apparently, and if it was rusty and it could have break off, and that again complicated the rescue effort. Now, unconfirmed from a crew member is that one of the items the government forced the ship to carry was a generator, and when it was going on these waves, the generator shifted a little bit, and it now additionally with the water that was coming into the boat at a greater rate, it changed the center of gravity of the boat. Now the crane on the vessel is break down a lot, and at sea it's difficult to use it, especially in those conditions. So once the generator shifted a little bit and they had no way to pull it back to its position, it was so heavy you had to use a crane to right it again. Plus you're having the additional water coming in the cargo area. It was a foregone conclusion. The boat started listing and it could not rectify itself. It went down, right? On that same day, on the same 18th, I have it in capitals here. The captain refused to take the boat. A few days before he was charged for the murder of 72 souls, the captain refused to take the boat. I told you he stayed home for 3 weeks. He did not want to take the boat. The boat had problems. He refused, and he was summoned to the Marine Superintendent's office. Right? Marine Superintendent, did I write down Gittins? No, a man named Gittins. There's another captain that I think was fired. And Mr. Gittins didn't tell me this. Another one of his co-workers. A man named Gittins was actually sanctioned up to 6 times for the same boat. 7 days, no pay suspension. And it's because, again, he refused to go on the boat. So this captain, after the 3 weeks, and you lose a whole month of work, right? Because the boat you're supposed to go out in is not seaworthy. Now you refuse to take a boat. A man threaten your job, force you to go on the boat. The people drunk, and then they charge you for murder. You can see why they got a man on suicide watch. Nah, this is a wicked, cruel, malicious, malignant government, right? Now, with the weed in these people's blood, when was the blood sample taken? Who collected it? Were they qualified to collect it? What is the chain of custody of these samples? Which is the accredited laboratory that did these tests? What was the concentration of narcotics in the blood? Was there a qualified expert to conclude that the captain or any of the crew were impaired? Okay, where's that information? All the people there complain about a poor quality of life, poor quality of work life, right? And even at the wharf, they don't have a wharf, they don't have no proper storage for cargo. So when people don't come to uplift cargo, they just have to put it right back in the boat. They don't have any proper facilities. They don't do and the Maritime Safety Division is who's in charge of the hulls, machinery, the licensing, the cargo, and all these things. So how are none of these people in jail? How are none of these people in jail? And the only people in jail are the three working class crew that all for the life of me is saying they did not want to be on that vessel in the first place. They did not want to be on the vessel. They were forced many times by the minister himself, they are alleging, by people in Transport and Harbours Board. And hey, Irfan, boy, you see, everything y'all do is linked to corruption. So just the commission of inquiry, they open up a separate other investigation, right? Because yeah, the list of set of people on that thing that was corrupt. But Irfan, boy, and this out of me hands now, the man y'all put in there, Captain Fouda. Whoa, what? Hey, corruption in this country ain't easy. Irfan, it out of me hands, right? It out of my hands. But y'all did that. You put a man name up, because I would have never know about who is Captain Fouda, and they're gonna go down a whole different rabbit hole. Y'all see how corrupt and crooked this government is. But again, same names seem to be calling around there. Indar, you know, Indar, you name calling it. A lot of y'all name calling. I didn't know y'all so close to the Foudas. Irfan, y'all really take us for black belly shit. This time's different, right? So what am I missing? I'll make sure. Okay, so the captain came as a mate in 2022 or thereabouts. He became captain in 2024, and he went to Perica, and then he was sent back to Georgetown. So he was working on the vessel for years as a mate, and he knows that vessel very well. He's made a lot of trips. Apparently, you know, they got boats that go to Port Kaituma, some is go Kamaka, and that was the only one going to PK. So everybody know each other, is like family, you know. So everyone in the boat like family, they know each other, they are friends with each other. And you're trying to tell me that this guy and his crew members plotted the murder of everyone else that was on board with them, and also exposed themselves to the same risk of dying and murder? Okay, when the boat is in dry dock, you need a signature. Who signed off on that boat to come out of dry dock with it still having a hole in the bow that was patched with concrete and sugar? Should that man be in jail instead of the captain who was forced to pilot that vessel? Next question. Okay, well, we can get to the dry dock school and registry later, because this concerns AA Maritime. And the very man, the Fouda that they brought in the commission of inquiry, his son is in on the board for the Maritime Administration in Jamaica, which is the accrediting body for a school that is run by his son in Guyana, that is accrediting people for the very industry that he is supposed to be investigating. And he is a close man with Indar, Irfan, all these people. A set of tire bundle that requires its own separate life and accompanying articles. That corruption going in there. There's a, you know, you got branches. Every branch you explore here got corruption. It wasn't just the MV Barima. When you start looking at the search and rescue, you're like, but hold on, Irfan didn't say he just spent $1.3 billion on drones that was going to go and rescue these people. When you start searching down the rabbit hole, corruption, you can't find the $1.3 billion in drones. You can't even find the drones. I know the president has a farm for about $4.5 billion that he can't explain, though. It's a lot of money. Nobody could see where it went. But I could just see that at least some of the people in government seem to be doing very, very good with their chocolate business and stuff. But the thing's supposed to be saving us from drowning. like them equipment ain't getting bought. I don't know. It was common to have engine failure on the boat, and when it sunk, one engine was already not working, and the other engine that was working at somewhere close to half capacity. A foregone conclusion that it would have sunk, right? And normally there's be carrying things like vehicles, generators, engines. There's no safety drills on the MV Barima ever. The only boat I heard about having some safety drills is the MV Malaysia, right? Probably just before the party boat thing. Good morning to Aria Ali out there. I hope you're good. I just want to apologize to you because I know your grief right now is probably that you don't have a boat to do your elite galas and parties on anymore, because they probably won't allow you now that people drown. So good morning to you, Miss Aria Ali. I don't even know why they call her the first lady. I start calling her the last lady. She's the last person that's ever come out with a statement. Were you
too cool?
100%.
So as we speak, we're on the party boat. We're gonna go and sail in the Demerara River a bit.
Less.
We're gonna have dinner on the party boat. I just want to show you guys.
Samsung, keeping us connected no matter where in the world we're located.
Everybody, it's about too cool. Definite. So as we speak, we're on the party boat. We're gonna go and sail in the Demerara River a bit. We're gonna have
the ultimate male supplement, men's total wellness formula, packed with essential nutrients for men's health. She'll call you Mr. C.
Definite. So as we speak, we're on the party boat. We're gonna go and sail in the Demerara River a bit. We're gonna have dinner on the party boat. I just want to show you guys a sneak peek of the dining area, how it is and how beautiful it's set up. First time for me on the party boat. Big up to Leon. Leon is here also. My wife is here, and I have some other friends. Happy anniversary to the T-Setter family. I hope Vanessa and the big boss have a super anniversary. All right, check this out, guys. So this is the boat, basically. We're on the boat here, and we're gonna have dinner on the boat. We're gonna take a stroll down the Demerara River and have a fun one, have a few drinks. Let me show you. This is just the second floor of the boat that you can come and dine and have a little good time, in the sense of having a small drink and eat, sit down and just chill. On upstairs is a different atmosphere, a different party atmosphere, right? Open concept and all of that. So it's beautiful, man. It's really beautiful. Our bar is there. If you want something to drink, we go to the bar, we get it right there, and we all set. Robin, look at this, boy. We got Saxe, you know. We got our very famous drink here. Our single malt turn up, all right? Look out for part 2 upstairs, all right? Cheers. Put up, join the party board. Hey, everybody.
And not enough was we had some Gucci jet lag. You couldn't wake up in time to send a message of condolence to the grieving mothers, and when you did, you had to come really doll up and smiling. It was great. Good morning to you. Right? And imagine your son could raise $10 million in lemonade, and that's not enough for you. You couldn't use it to go and rent your own speedboat. You still needed the people's thing, y'all still need the people boat to party on. That's great. I love that for you guys. Someone told me that the first lady don't party on the boat on the same MV Malaysia. She's party on a special barge that owned by Kamal Singh from Geico. Well, more corruption there. Kamal using the family of Ashni Singh, who just got bareface in the papers and be awarding you hundreds of millions of that. You have a lot of contractors complaining about you, Kamal. Apparently, you're collecting most of the contracts. and use the literal family of the finance. Well, he ain't even finance minister because they don't want him to be responsible for no crime. So he's a minister within the Ministry of Finance. But like Irfan is like he's the minister of finance, you know, right? So many people cheat with their ticket. Like I told you, is give the ticket to other people. People is even get on from charity. The assertion is more than 200 people were on the MV Barima. Summertime is peak. People is jump on the boat. Engineers have been fired for talking out. It's supposed to dock every 5 years. It doesn't. Last docked in 2017. There no structural upgrades since 2017. They dock in 2024 because of the fire. Just going over some stuff I said earlier. Life raft seemed to have expired in 2022. For a boat like that, you're supposed to have, it didn't even have the required number of life rafts. You're supposed to have up to 16 life rafts to the vessel, given the number of people they said on it. Each could take about 20, 25 people on it, automatically deployed. We saw no more than 2 or 3. Okay. Yeah, I think we got through most of it, guys. So people like Brent now, Ashley, still waiting to hear from you. Juan Edgil, Rosalina Rasul, some of the people that are being alleged to have direct involvement in forcing the staff at Transport and Harbours to overload this boat with human cargo and the like. So if they're murderers, Edgil, you're a murderer. If those people are murderers, then should the allegations be proven true against the Region 1 chairman, Brentnall Ashley is a murderer, according to this government.
I'm telling you, a lot of scapegoating, new depths to the corruption. One love to all the persons that are a part of the live right now. Big up to all the moderators. Big up to everyone that called in. Big up to everyone that dropped insightful commentary into the comment section. And thanks to you, the viewers, who come through and make this live presentation what it is. Everybody play a special part, right? If you haven't already subscribed, it don't cost you nothing. Hit that subscription button, buddy, and become a part of the family early on. Right? Early on. Channel is growing and growing fastly, right? Thanks for tuning in and for being a part of this special presentation. The flight has landed, Delta9 travelers. The flight has landed. Guess what? Thumbs up the live, get a luggage. Or you're getting your luggage, you gotta subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll know the next time that we're live right here on Delta9 Media. Greetings.
Yeah. Here a question a lot of people in asking, right?
Yeah.
How these 3 sailors survive? How did they survive? I'm listening to all of this. How do they survive? You only see them when they get locked up and charged.
Yeah.
You know how they get to survive if they add on like jackets, if they hold on to something, if they swim ashore. There's nothing, there's a big gap between that, bro.
And that's the reason why they get 72 counts. I think that's one of the reasons, because now with all of them counts, remember, there's not bailable offense. So that information, you know, is going to be very tight-knit because of the situation with that.
Fisherman who saved, was sent to save these guys, pull them up and bring them ashore. Next thing is, what is all this charge for? Is this for the people that dead, or the merchandise for the minister them that under the water?
I know, because you hear how the Honorable Dr. Todd was highlighting it. Sorry for cutting you, but you hear how Honorable Dr. Todd was highlighting it. The person who's a part of the legal team was highlighting it and saying, "Listen, in all of my years, I never heard a charge like this that I heard pronounced."
Yo, I watched another video with attorney coming out on this thing, bro. And now people from all over the globe is saying they never hope these man get. The problem is, here I can put it to you. I used a Medi man. It has nothing to do with the dead people. That's just a front for the charge you put them on them. Because if this thing was about the death, then the president would have shown more respect to the surviving family.
That's
you
why I
treat
keep.
them like they don't worth money.
You see, that's why I keep.
It's about the merchandise that beneath the sea on the sea bank beneath. How much is billions or millions of dollars, but they're using the people them for charges, man.
And you see
They're
that.
all upset.
Well,
remember, two generators on this thing called belongs to these ministers.
And look,
millions and millions
you see,
of dollars.
and that's why I keep highlighting the information coming directly from the victims. And I want to say condolences to them again, because those are the ones that gotta deal with the trauma and gotta continually deal with what's going on right here, you know. And another thing that I want to highlight as well is that the scapegoating of these 3 crew members is not going to solve the situation, because as we heard highlighted, there's other parts to this fleet. There's other boats right now that's on the water that we need to check. There's other things that we need to make sure we put in place. This system that is running the country where you got big boyfriend and people just doing what they want, the corruption has now become dangerous, as we can see. And we're the ones that got to do something to change it. Go ahead.
You got to stand up for them.
Yeah.
Open with our eyes. Now, we in America, those in Guyana, let's talk direct to them. You Guyanese that living in the Guyana right now, the citizen born growing Guyanese and the ones that went there and live and start their life from another country and have the citizenship of being a Guyanese, y'all need to stand up. Stop using just your 2 eyes. Use your third eye. Your third eye is what gives you that knowledge. It make you observe. Maybe instead y'all keep running down each other and talking who this and who that and minding each other dirty business, focus on maybe on your life. Because y'all living in a Judge Dredd era. You ever see the movie Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone? Check it. That's the era y'all living in. That's how this movie predicts this life show in Guyana. Where y'all the judge that sits there and follow through with the government of Guyana bogus case against these 3 guys. If you is a judge, you have to know the law. From the first hearing with all these things that they put there, these counts, you're supposed to done dismiss and put these guys on bail as a judge. But the judge is not for the people of Guyana, it's for the government of Guyana. Because the government give them that high position and pull their money, their pocket with money. So Guyanese, y'all are caught between a rock and a stone. But y'all gotta break out of it. Use your third eye. Use your third eye. They could lock up 5. They can't lock up 100. They could lock up, if they could lock up 100, they can't lock up 500. They ain't got the facility to hold 5. Even 1,000. Come out, shut down the center, y'all got the, what you call the center in each village. Shut that down. Go in front of the U.S. Council and protest, erupt those their business so that they could go to the government and say, hey, y'all gotta put your tax up cards. This thing now is on we doorstep. So you go to the Guyana of the what they always call it, Freedom House, it's not gonna happen. You gotta go to the American consulate and interrupt their business. Only they could step to these guys. I be listening.
Big up yourself, King. Thanks for calling in. I'm telling you, serious times. Thanks for being a part of this live presentation. One love, and I'll catch you in the next one. We should be live at 6:30 this evening. Look out for a number of updates in between, a number of pre-recorded videos that are already up on the platform. One love. I'll catch you in the next one.
Eight Butterfly Sea Moss Powder. Take your daily routine to the next level. Natural vegan superfood powder. Essential multivitamin powder made just for you.